celebrating St. Patrick's Day in the City of Destiny. Tonight on Evening.
Please don't.
Oscar nominee Rose Byrne reveals why she had to sneak into Seattle.
Really got a sense of the place of the rich side of Seattle, the poor side of Seattle.
The sushi restaurant offering a memorable meal at a price you won't forget. And a true taste of the Northwest, thanks to trees like these.
Happy St. Patrick's Day from Doyle's Public House in Tacoma. I'm St. O'Brien for the day, raising a pint of Guinness with some of my very best friends. Doyle's is just a month away from celebrating its 20th anniversary, but they're already home to some treasured traditions. They've got one of the largest curated whiskey selections in the Northwest. And if you're lucky enough to buy the last drink from a bottle of Jameson's, you'll be entered into a monthly drawing that could make you one of 13 finalists to win a trip to the fair city of Dublin, home of James Joyce, Oscar Wilde, and U2. Owner Russ Heaton opened the pub at 5:30 this morning and expects a crowd till closing time at 2 a.m. tomorrow.
It's never this full on a Tuesday if it's not St. Patrick's Day. We're often described as an Irish pub, but you'll never see us talk about being an Irish pub. I like to think of us as a Tacoma pub. I wanted to build out a place that felt like a comfortable shoe when you put it on, or a warm sweatshirt, a place where people can come gather and share and be heard, be seen, be felt, and also put on their green gear and raise a little bit of the Craig today.
Cilantro! They only make maple syrup in Canada with sugar maples, right? Yeah! Wrong! You can make syrup with maples growing in your own backyard. Chris introduces us to a man who's turned it into a sweet business.
Want a true taste of the Pacific Northwest? It comes from these trees.
Oh, wow.
Made from sap, tapped from the bigleaf maples thriving in this North Cascades Valley for centuries.
So this is the Jones Creek area right here. This is in Acme, Washington. We've been tapping trees here for over 10 years now. Everything that's coming out of the tree is literally just pure filtered tree water, which is pretty neat.
Devin Day is helping his stepfather Neil McLeod gather sap for a sweet venture.
It's Neil's Bigleaf maple, and we're making syrup.
When Neil first tried to make syrup from the maples on his property, people told him he was crazy.
You know, when we started, there's no way it could be done, and I heard this from so many people. Not enough sap in the trees, not enough sugar in the trees. The list went on and on.
The syrup Neil made tasted so unique, it got the attention of one of Seattle's best restaurants.
That first year, I made just a little bit of syrup. I'm testing the sugar content with these, and I got better at it and better at it. And then Devin took some down to Canlis, and they wanted to buy everything I could make.
Today, Neil is the biggest commercial maker of big leaf maple syrup in the West. Winter is when the sap runs.
We have about 800 to 850 taps at this location.
And flows through these lines, then gets pumped over to the cookhouse. You can always tell when it's cooking day. Sweet-smelling smoke billows out of the chimney. And the crew wears aloha shirts.
If you're in the cookhouse making syrup, you're supposed to be wearing your Hawaiian shirt.
Cooks wear the shirts.
The sap gets cooked down to concentrate the sugars. It takes 100 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. And on cooking day, it's all sticky hands on deck. Neil's wife, Delight, bottles the cooked syrup. Granddaughters help out as well.
And it's hard work, but we have a good time at it.
You know, when you start bottling and then when you're all done and getting wrapped up and seeing all the carts full of bottled syrup, it's neat to see all that work that you put in, you know, here come to fruition in such a unique product.
Now, that syrup that people said couldn't be made from the Northwest big leaves gets shipped all over the world. Each bottle, a labor of love for this land and a gift from these trees.
When everything comes together and that sap's pouring out of trees, and you know you did it.
All right, thank you, Chris. Our tasters say Neil's Bigleaf syrup tastes complex and buttery. A small bottle will set you back $18, and they do sell out. You can find them online. You can find our producer, John Marr, in Austin, Texas, where he's covering the South by Southwest Festival. Hey, John.
Producer John Marr here at South by Southwest, and it's a new chapter for Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale. We're going to check out a story-driven activation.
I have to save those girls.
Just get close to her.
The Testaments is a prequel to the original show and is a dramatic coming-of-age story that follows young teens Agnes, played by Chase Infinity from the Oscar-winning film One Battle After Another, and Daisy, played by Lucy Holiday, as they navigate the gilded halls of Aunt Lydia's elite preparatory school for future wives. This experience centers around the Purple Bus, known in the series as Aunt Lydia's prep school bus, where plums in full costume are handing out mini pies, inviting attendees to scan a QR code and further interact with the experience. This South by Southwest moment serves as the official kickoff of a multi-city experiential tour, with additional immersive takeovers planned for Los Angeles and New York.
All right, thank you, John. Look for the South by Southwest special he's producing with Jose. It'll air on King 5 Evening on Friday. Well, this is a good day to remember one of the most famous Irish Americans of them all, born right here in Tacoma, across the street from St. Patrick's Church.
Well, that old man river, must know something, but it don't say nothing.
Just consider the numbers. Bing Crosby scored 38 #1 hits. 38. Even the Beatles only had 24.
Or would you like to swing on a star?
He was the #1 box office star from 1944 to 1949, winning the Best Actor Oscar for Going My Way.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
And his song, White Christmas, is still the most popular record of all time. 50 million copies sold.
The musical journey of Bing Crosby began here on Tacoma's J Street. He was born right here, this house, May 3rd, 1903.
At the age of 4, Bing Crosby's family moved to Spokane. His home state left a lifelong impression.
I like to remember the Pacific Northwest as a land that can put a song in your heart. You know, when I was a kid around Spokane and Tacoma, the song was usually carried in a sort of an off-key whistle.
Bing attended Gonzaga but dropped out to pursue his musical career.
I just want to be lazy.
Crooning, that was the term that became popular to describe that kind of slower, more expressive conversational singing style. And he was a pioneer who influenced Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and so many other crooners that followed.
Well, you take some skins, jazz begins.
His interest in working with the very best musicians led Bing Crosby to become something of a civil rights pioneer. He integrated the stage, sharing the spotlight with his friend Louis Armstrong. No small gesture in the 1930s. Even though his career took him all over the world, Bing Crosby always loved the Pacific Northwest. He donated his Oscar and many other mementos to Gonzaga and offered this advice to his fans.
If you'd rather swing on a star, I just did, or gather moonbeams up in a jar, you can really be better off than you are by hitting the road to the Pacific Northwest. Boy, it's a great way to discover America.
The legend Bing Crosby died in 1977 at the age of 74. To Bing Crosby!
Coming up, Oscar nominee Rose Byrne explains why she had to sneak into Seattle to make her latest film. And the Seattle sushi restaurant that goes all out to make sure you have a memorable dining experience.
Wow! Local stories make a difference.
That's good.
With the power to enrich lives, strengthen communities, and make us smile. Evening is made possible by Primera Blue Cross. Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
Welcome back to Doyle's Public House in Tacoma. A new movie tells the story of a $21,000 towing bill and the Seattle woman who fights back. Oscar nominee Rose Byrne stars in the independent film Tow.
Amanda, you have my car.
$273.
I have to pay that to get my stolen car back? Please.
Please don't cry.
Please. This ain't over.
Before Rose Byrne ever played Amanda Ogle in Tow, she spent a day with the real Amanda, right here in Seattle.
I'd never been before, so I really got a sense of the place of the rich side of Seattle, the poor side of Seattle, the long highways where she would have to traverse to get to the towing company. So it was fascinating to see the whole place. It's a really interesting town. It's obviously gorgeous.
So how long have you been sleeping in your car for? 7 months.
In 2017, Amanda's car was her home, a situation as many as 3 million Americans find themselves in every night.
I mean, we had crew members on the film, one of whom didn't tell me until halfway through that they had lived in their car with their family for 6 months.
When Amanda sues the towing company, attorney Kevin Figures, played by the Holdovers' Dominic Sessa, joins the fight.
How old were you?
24.
My car is older than you.
Do you think that Amanda and Kevin are heroes for taking on the system?
I don't know if they would describe themselves as heroes. I mean, it depends how you define hero. I mean, someone that's, got the odds stacked against them and is able to inspire other people. I think there's something heroic about that.
Though New Jersey doubles for Seattle throughout most of the movie, the crew did spend 24 hours here with Rose for some guerrilla-style shooting around Pioneer Square in Lake Union.
And literally every single shot that you see is every single shot that we filmed. I think every single thing is used in the movie from our very short trip to Seattle.
Give me back my car, bitch!
The movie Tow pays tribute to a mostly hidden community and to one woman who proved that even in a system that rewards the powerful, a single, persistent voice can still matter.
It's David and Goliath, really. Against all odds, she sort of achieves this thing, and there are a lot of odds against her.
Maybe today the system does the right thing, even for someone like me.
Tow is rated R. The real Amanda Ogle will appear on New Day, along with the Seattle Times columnist who brought her story to light. If you're one of those people who only watches Oscar winners after they've won the Oscar, well, here's a preview of one battle after another, the Best Picture winner of 2026.
You know what freedom is? No fear, just like Tom Cruise.
In Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, Leonardo DiCaprio plays a paranoid ex-revolutionary who teams up with Benicio del Toro to rescue his daughter from an oppressive American police state.
We both go on this journey together, but we're so ill-equipped, and we have absolutely no chance.
You know, I don't think anyone can guess where is the next move gonna come, or where is it gonna go.
Long after his revolutionary group's heyday, and looking like a cross between the dude from The Big Lebowski and Jack Nicholson in his prime, DiCaprio's Bob Ferguson has lost his edge after years of smoking weed on the couch.
What time is it?
You know, I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the password stuff. Look, this is Bob Ferguson, all right?
Whatever I did in my past is really coming back to haunt me, and I'm now in what seems like a James Bond movie, but I am not capable or well-equipped whatsoever to deal with the opposition in any way.
That opposition is embodied by Sean Penn, who plays the scowling Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw.
I'll be seeing you very soon.
Not if I see you first.
While it's not a comedy per se, it's its own animal. Sometimes even in the most torturous stuff, I just find it's such a giggle because it's a view through an original mind, and I think that we don't see enough of that in the movies.
Teyana Taylor plays the untamable revolutionary Perfidia Beverly Hills.
She's a complex woman, but she's badass and she's unapologetically herself.
A character literally on the run from justice.
You know, the scene came out amazing, but that running whooped my whole, so you hear me, whooped me. But it was all well worth it.
To say much more might spoil a Paul Thomas Anderson movie that unpredictably bounces from action to comedy to political thriller.
unexpected. It's not your traditional action. He propels you with a tension that starts from the beginning and lasts throughout the entirety of this movie. There's not a second that you can kind of take a breath.
Viva la revolution!
My favorite movie of 2025, winner of 6 Oscars, One Battle After Another, is currently streaming on HBO Max.
Up next, what $200 buys you at Seattle's highest-rated sushi restaurant when evening returns.
Welcome back to the show from Doyle's Public House in Tacoma, where the legendary corned beef is $21. It's absolutely delicious, and it's not too pricey, especially compared to the next place we're taking you to, where dinner can cost $185 a person.
At Shomen Kappo Sushi, a Japanese restaurant in Seattle that opened in 2025, there are only 2 seatings per night. And 5 Michelin-trained master chefs preparing your food. It all adds up to a one-of-a-kind culinary experience, as this team prepares and shares dishes that are also works of art.
We come together to create one of the best dining experience here.
Kappo means to cut and to cook.
We are preparing the cutting, cooking, the plating, so that is a kappo.
Here it also translates into a feast for all the senses. The chefs use smoke.
I'm smoking the bonito, the skipjack tuna.
Fire. And hand-forged Japanese knives to prepare an 8-course tasting menu of masterpieces. The fare is ever-changing and innovative.
So this is our yellowtail, seared lightly for a smoky aroma, wrapped with our pickled daikon, and around the bowl we have the yuzu gocho, which is a peppery, citrusy paste that we made into a gelatin.
This is really good. It's so fresh.
After the sashimi course comes dashi, soup with turnip, dry-aged snapper, and kaffir lime. Then more fish, king mackerel with seaweed rice and foam made from manila clams. Then wagyu beef sukiyaki and edomai sushi, a traditional style that both preserves and boosts the flavor and texture of the fish.
Using technique like marinating, aging, and then also pickling to bring out the umami.
This might look scary, but dry-aged fish makes sushi extra delicious. Everything is prepared front and center and fresh.
With the fresh wasabi, it's just not spicy.
And from appetizers through dessert, the 5 chefs also satisfy their guests' curiosity.
The chef love to talk with the guests, and then we wanna bring a good atmosphere. So we are not just bringing the food. So it's kind of like a Japanese hospitality.
At the end of this 2.5-hour meal, a Shomen tradition, all of the chefs and the servers gather to see their guests off, revealing the one ingredient that truly sets this restaurant apart.
It's a team.
Shomen Kappo Sushi is located in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood, and if you find that $185 price tag a little daunting, good news, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can get a 5-course meal for just $135. So it's nothing like corned beef here.
The most delightful signs of spring when evening returns.
Now in our 40th season, Evening shares local stories that make our community shine. Evening is sponsored by Pemco Insurance. Pemco empowers the Northwest to prevent the preventable. Learn how at pemco.com.
Welcome back to Doyle's Public House in Tacoma, where we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day with more friends than we can even fit on camera. May the hinges of our friendship never rust. We are going to leave you now with the flowering cherry trees of UW. Thanks so much for watching. Aaron Gobra.